This Soonerscoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. There can be only one LASIK center for Sooner Scoop, and that's Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop LASIKs.
Hello and welcome to the Family Business. I'm Joe Castiglione Jr. alongside Isaac Stoops, and we have the man who is the hardest worker in sports, Chris Plank, in the studio.
Is this because I slammed a beer before we did this? Is that why you say it?
Well, it's just one, right?
Just one. There were Coors Lights in the fridge, and I was like, why not? Let's go. No, thanks, dude. I appreciate you. Your dad is always very quick to point out how I have too many jobs. So this is, I'm trying to get Carrie to hire me while I'm here.
We can work something out.
Okay, there you go. That's the whole goal. I need more. I have two daughters that spend all my money. Love my wife. She's a stay-at-home, which is great. Take care of the kids. But you both will obviously live this at some point. But I have a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old daughter, and they're both going on like 21 and 18. So it's a little different world.
That's a big money.
It's a different world, man. It's crazy.
There's been so many times, even I'm just in the car with my dad, and we're coming home from a game or something, and we turn it on. And he's like, this guy's still working.
Yeah. So okay, let's bust me out a little bit. You ready?
Let's do it.
SiriusXM, great employer. Love them. They've helped. I have a new truck that I'm driving thanks to SiriusXM, and the part of the, I guess you could say, fake news of it is they'll re-air a lot of shows. So, for instance, on Saturday, I do an 8 to 11 a.m. show. Carrie, I'm promoting this. I hope you're not mad. 8 to 11 a.m. live every Saturday morning on SiriusXM Channel 84. Now, that show will get re-aired all day long. So all day you can hear this program. So there's a little bit of fool's gold in it, right? To where it's like, maybe he's not working as hard because he did 8 to 11 and the show is on at 1 a.m. But in all reality, it's part of radio. I don't have another job to fall back on. This is it for me. And that's, if it's a softball game or a women's basketball game, that's my number one priority. Or if it's obviously doing sidelines for football. But anything I can pick up on XM or Fox Sports Radio helps kind of patch things together. And, of course, I do a local show, and I'm grateful for that. It helps patch together everything to make sure that I can make those ends because I got very needy kids, man. Very needy kids.
It's a tough age group.
That's right. That's right.
Has there been any point that you finish a game and then you're like, you kind of forget and you're like, oh, enjoying the win or whatever, and then you get to that point, you're like, oh, I got to go.
I got a show.
Yeah, I got to go on 30 minutes.
Well, the worst one was this year, OU Texas. So I don't usually do the scoreboard show, but this year someone was out. Denton Day does the scoreboard show, and he was out, and I had to do the scoreboard show after we lost to Texas. I wanted to just go home and go to bed. And Teddy and I, so Teddy rode with me. We went to a hotel we were staying at, and not just outside of Dallas. And as I'm driving back, it's this moment that, oh gosh, I got to talk about this for 2 more hours. Why?
That's the last thing you want to do after
no.
being out in that.
If it's a win, dude, I'll sit there all night long. I'll stay up all night long and talk about it, right? But if it's a loss, it's very painful. I think the hardest thing for me is whenever I was younger, it didn't matter. It's like, I got to be in at 1 a.m., got it. I got to be in at 6 a.m., got it. Now, I'm a little bit older, and Father Time's kind of undefeated. So, Father Time, as we've learned this week, Mother Nature, all kind of undefeated. So when you get in those moments where it's, oh, dang, I've got a game, and then when I'm done with the game, I've got a show that's a scoreboard show, or I've got an early morning show the next day, you miss out on that sleep. It sucks the next day.
I was going to ask, is there a secret Chris Plank drink, or are you a caffeine guy? Are you a coffee guy?
What are you doing? Okay. Big coffee guy, a lot of coffee. And I'm a sneaky nap guy. Like, in other words, I don't know if this, but I can fit in about a 15 to 30 minute nap and be, okay, I'm ready to go. Meth was thought about, but I hear that's illegal. That kind of gets you going, but in all seriousness.
Not in all counties.
Not in all counties.
Yeah. I get 70 of them.
Only 70 of them, but I'm a big coffee guy, and that keeps me going. Also, it's kind of weird because you don't think about it now. You're like, oh, gosh, Plank, you got a show at 1 a.m. on Friday. How do you do it? All of a sudden, whenever you are inching towards it, and you're like, my gosh, am I going to be able to stay up for this? You get going, you get a couple crazy callers, and you get on a couple topics. It's amazing what kind of adrenaline that can give to you. So, I'm I'm turning 50 this year. I turned 50 this year. That's so old. And yet, it's still one of those things where if you balance out your sleep and you kind of just prepare for it a little bit. I got a great wife. My wife is awesome. She helps. If I need to nap, she'll make fun of me and call me old, but she's like, okay, get your nap. Kids don't understand it, but the wife will, and so that kind of helps out more than anything else.
Are the rumors true that Kerry Murdoch got his broadcasting career?
Okay,
exists because of you?
I'm so glad you asked this because I've been thinking about this for a long time. Kerry did not get his broadcast start from me. I want to make that very clear. Kerry created his own empire. He took me through the studios beforehand. It's amazing what he's built. When I started in radio, all right, probably before both of you were born. My first year was 97.
I was born
99.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Feel a little bit better, Kerry. But my first year in radio was 99. Well, I did a 4-hour show alone. I would do a 4-hour afternoon drive. Now, this was back in the days. Radio was a little bit different because you could kind of kick your feet up and get calls. It's like, because there wasn't a lot of message boards. The internet was still in its infancy, and Twitter, everything on your phone didn't exist. So the way to talk sports was to call the local sports radio show. And I was in Tulsa, 1430, and I didn't grow up in Oklahoma. I went to college at Tulsa, and I went to TU and fell in love with college athletics. So I didn't really get the recruiting passion. And honestly, I didn't really get the OU passion. I'll admit that until I got here. And then when I got here, and it's like, oh, these people are crazy about OU, like in a good way. So Kerry was kind enough to, I think he was peddling magazines or something at the time in a good way. And he came by the station and we just kind of started talking. He'd come on with me, and it was a segment where honestly and this shows you how old it is. Did you ever have an instant messenger name?
I did.
Did you? Isaac did.
No.
MSN or whatever.
What was your AOLIM? You remember? Mine was C-Plank 1430. Because that was my radio station, and that's how people would communicate with the show. They would AIM the show, and here's Crazy Joe and Norman that's saying we need to fire John Blake or whatever. That's what it was like. And Kerry came on, and when Kerry came on, bro, the phone lines lit up. And they would have these questions like, "Hey, are we going to get this kid?" And in my mind, it was like, I have no idea. And Kerry is like really good on the air. So I didn't give him his start. I know he thinks I try to claim that, and he gets mad at me when I try to lay that out, but he was already going. And I hope I helped expose him more to a Tulsa audience, because I was in big trouble if I didn't have Kerry Murdoch coming on the show, man. I didn't know how I was going to feel that 4 hours, but I know if Kerry Murdoch came on from 4 to 5 or 5, it was going to be full phone lines the whole time, man. Banging calls and just talking about recruiting. It was amazing. He was awesome before me.
I really think that we need to bring back more call lines.
I agree.
If you want to give me your number to call in the show, I'll call in.
So that's my thing. So I do a local show every day from 9 to noon on the Ref, and it's been great. Our bosses are incredible. I got a great co-host in Josh Helmer, and we've tried, but it's still so weird. Like, think about the last time you used your phone to make a call. Right? It's usually an emergency situation. I don't call anyone. And 9 out of 10 times, if I get a phone call, I'm like,
straight to voicemail, see what they say, and then text them.
Let's see the answer, and let's see what this looks like. And if it's a number I don't know, I'm not answering it until I Google that phone number and see who it is. So I would love to see that. The text lines are great. Twitter's great. There's people that use Discord chats. I don't even know what that means. But I'm with you 100%. I think the caller is something. And somewhere along the way, some sort of, consultant told sports radio stations that they need to get away from callers, and maybe for a stretch that was right. But it was, think about it. Anyone that's watching this right now, your favorite radio show that you listened to growing up, you think about the callers, right? So I grew up listening. I wasn't a big Stern Show fan until I got older, right? But I remember I'm thinking about, Eric the Actor and, Marianne from Brooklyn. These are the people that you remember. I think about my shows that I did in Tulsa. I think about Rube and Tech Tina and USC Brian and these people that would call the shows. They become a personality. Bill Haston, who writes for the Tulsa World, it was one of my coolest moments because I was still young and I didn't really know what I was doing, but he wrote an article about my callers, the callers to the show. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And they all got some pub. And it was just, it was really a cool thing. So I'm with you. We need to how do we do that? Just spread the word for the number, or
Exactly. I think we need to use those other modes to send out. I mean,
Right.
we still have Feinbaum. Feinbaum's kind of like the last thing.
He is
evolution
right.
of that.
And again, there is a point where you're like, there is some work that needs to go into, and I think that's one thing where, it's more than just coming in and like, welcome to the show. Let's go to the phones. Or welcome to the show. Here's my text line. You want to put some work into it. You want to be able to craft. This is where I really get corny, and I apologize. There is an art to it. There is an art to radio. There's an art to podcasting. It's not just I'm going to sit here and read what this guy has to say or take this guy's call. There's a skill to it, and I mean I'm still trying to master that skill after like 20 plus years in the business. But callers add to that. So that's a great point, Joe. I miss callers in sports radio. I wish we had more of them.
And the coach shows that.
Yeah.
The coach shows for. I know.
I mean, that's
it's that one's not coming back, but there's some great moments.
I've seen some great clips of my dad. Yeah.
that guy that called about Kansas State. I
Yep.
mean, still to this day, I remember I think I was still in Tulsa. And I heard that. I was like, callers are going away after that, man. No, you know what it wasn't? I was here. Because Toby was the play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I was like, oh, yeah, we're so doomed. Callers had a great run on the coach's show.
Yeah.
Even up until a couple years ago, I think Clemson still did their.
Really? Well, okay.
Somebody called to Dabo
Now
and said
listen,
something.
let me ask you that. I think that was a plant. I think that was a fake phone call. I really do. Because the guy...
Tyler from Greenville or something like that.
Exactly. And then when he was like, the answer was too perfect. It's one of those
Little
to where
Rehearsed, a little scripted, yeah.
and I'm not against that, but just tell me. It's like I'm here. All of these shows where you hear it's like, hey, second date. They're all fake phone calls. Okay, I mean everything it's Johnny from sales that's calling, or they all if it's scripted, that's fine. I'm here with it, but it's like at least let me know. So I think that was scripted, but it was brilliant, right?
It worked well.
It worked.
They turned around the season.
It worked.
Thank you, Tyler from Greenville. They're going to cut him an NIL check.
Yeah, that's
after
right.
that
He
year.
needs to get the money, doesn't he?
It's the first transfer portal for Clemson. But shout out that one of your many jobs. Many. We could go through your resume right now, but being the sideline reporter for football game days, and talk about an art, something that kind of mastered the art within the art. Is the ability to report injuries during the game. How fine of a line is that to walk? Because, I mean, you're up close. You're hearing the doctors. You're like, I can't say this on the air, but.
Funny story. We were talking about this this week, and I not only am blessed to do sidelines for football, but you talk about injury reporting. I did dugout reports for baseball before I did softball. And when Pete Hughes was the head coach, we had I think it was like Alec Hansen. And Toby went down to me for a dugout report, and Alec had a heating pad on his elbow. And I was like, oh, Alec's got looks like a little bit of an elbow issue, Toby. We'll see if he comes back in the game. And apparently that's the worst thing you could ever say about a baseball pitcher that's getting ready to get drafted, because everyone in the dugout, their phone blew up. And I guess, they had this is going back, almost a decade now. And it was funny because I didn't think anything of it, right? I thought I was just being... And I learned a lesson. Pete was always good to me, and he's like, listen, you screwed up, but it's fine. Don't do it again. So I learned a lot of lessons screwing up injury reports. We've had great team doctors and athletic trainers for football, right? And that's where I cut my teeth. So from Scott Anderson to what Chris Watson and
Jim Hillis.
Jim Hillis, director of rehabilitation, was awesome. And I think it took them a while to realize, hey, I'm not here to try to scoop you guys or make anyone look bad. I want to give somewhat of an update as to what's going on. So that's a great question, because it's a tough line. Now, I will tell you, having Gabe on the sideline has helped a lot over the last 5 to 6 years, because Gabe will just be like, oh, yeah, he broke his leg. Or, you guys have had him on here enough, and he's the best.
That's an AC joint.
Right, that's an AC joint. You can talk about it however you want, but it's totally done. Yeah. So now it's, Gabe doesn't look good on the shoulder, and then he can go with it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's been a great help for me. But, it's funny because it challenges you on the sidelines. It's such a diminishing role in broadcast, right? It's always either coaches' interviews going into halftime or coaches' interviews and pre-games, or they barely even go to him for injury updates anymore. So you're always trying to find like how much can I know and how much can I add on this, because it's just there's not as much of a need now as there once was. So I've tried to educate myself as much as I can. Like I'll go, the softball athletic trainers have been really good to me. I've learned a lot from them. And I mean, even Robert Fulton, he was the baseball athletic trainer whenever I was there to start, in like 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And you just learn about the injuries and how they're treated. So again, it's a delicate line, because you don't ever want to do anything or say anything that compromises a situation like I did with baseball with Alec Hansen's elbow injury or whatever he was dealing with. And he was fine. It was not that big of a deal. It's just you learn a lesson. So I'm grateful that I have Gabe. I'm great. And Teddy, it's like, hey, Ted, this dude, it looks like they're working on this. And Ted will be like, yep, I know what that is. He knows because he
knows everything.
So it's tough. You don't want to make – I have learned in all my time of doing sideline reporting from even – high school back on Cox Cable in the game of the week whenever I got started, or if it was like a University of Tulsa women's basketball game whenever I was in school and they just restarted the women's program. You don't want to say anything on the sidelines that in any way, shape, or form compromises the team. And I sure as heck don't want to do that. And I don't want to be in the way of an official. I don't want to get a flag. I just all these things you got to steer clear of.
Something a little like more uplifting is your scoreboard updates. We're gonna ask how like excited you get when OSU or Texas is losing.
I've been trying to get out of those things for years now. But no, I'm in all seriousness. MidFirst is a great sponsor, and it's fun. One moment stands out, right? Because now everyone has their phone, right? So everyone in the game is able to see what's going on. But one moment for me in the scoreboard actually two. Whenever Texas was losing to Maryland.
Yeah.
And I think they lost, 2 straight years to Maryland to start the season. We gave the update, and I'm like, we're going to go to Texas now. Everyone's going to get excited about this one. And the place just started booing. And I was like, yeah, boo them, boo. I'm just into it. And they show the highlights, and they got beat. And I'll never forget Brandon Meyer, who worked with us at the time, gets in my ear and is like, yeah, but I don't know about telling people to boo. I don't know if that's a good sign. I'm like, okay, all right, that's not a big deal. So that was a lesson learned. But you're right, man. When you get a Texas game up there, and even now, if people know that you're showing a highlight of Texas or Oklahoma State or someone ranked ahead of us, and it's a hard fought battle, you can sense it's like, oh, I see on this rundown that we're going to talk about this game. People are going to be fired up. And I don't pick the games. I don't do the rundown, okay? I have nothing to do with that. They give it to me. But many years ago, I don't know if you remember, there was an Arkansas-Ole Miss game. And Arkansas converted like a 4th and 15 where their tight end threw the ball up over his head. And the running back picked it up and gained the first down. And they went down and they won the game. And Teddy was cracking me up because he was like, buddy, you had the whole stadium in the palm of your hand in that moment. Because I was like, you guys, you're not going to believe what just happened in Ole Miss and Arkansas. And again, still where Twitter was a thing, but not where everyone in the stadium had a Twitter feed. And I knew the highlight was coming, but I hadn't seen it, right? But the guy that wrote the script at the time, sometimes you'll have students that aren't big college football fans, but they're doing a good job, right? And this guy was a big college football fan. He's like, this place is going to go crazy, is what he sent me on the text. I'm like, okay, let's go. So I'm like, you guys are not going to believe this. And then on the 4th down play, I'm like, watch this. And I could hear the whole place just lose their mind when the guy throws the ball, throws the ball up over his head, and the dude grabs it and runs for a first down, and then Arkansas scores a touchdown to win the game. It was one of those I probably should have retired from the MidFirst update after that because it's not going to get any better. But, we were talking about DJ Gasso before we got going. I love the scoreboard update if it wasn't for DJ always making fun of me because I look like I'm crammed in with a bunch of cheerleaders. It's like, welcome down to scoreboard update brought to you by MidFirst. And you're just, you do whatever they ask you to do. That's how I am. And the cool thing about it is I'll run into former cheerleaders like, hey, scoreboard update. I was down there with you. I'm like, that's awesome. And they're, you look at them, they're like 25, 26 now, and they got a kid. You're like, I've been doing this for a long time. Right. But it's truly, I'm not going to lie, Isaac, it's one of the great thrills because it's so unique. We don't go anywhere else in college football where they do a live scoreboard update on the field. And you might have scores and you might have updates, but we don't go anywhere else where it's like, hey, let's go down to the field where Johnny Peppercorn, has an update from what's going on in other college games. And I really, truly, I'm grateful for it. I always feel like it takes you away from the radio broadcast, so that always kind of sucks for me. But it's truly a joy. It really is, man. It's wild how many people see it too.
It's crazy how much energy. There's been a couple games OU might not be doing very well, and then all of a sudden you say that OSU's losing 7 points.
Yeah, it's like,
going crazy.
Let's go. There we go.
It's almost like the they didn't win the game this year, but the balloon snake in the OU Texas basketball game.
That was a cool thing. Yeah.
That was
awesome. I didn't know what was going on.
I didn't see this.
I didn't. You didn't see this? So whenever OU was playing Texas,
correct,
I thought it was a cup snake. And so a couple of fans got a balloon snake going around the upper deck. And when it connected from all the way, because there was a great crowd there that night, when it connected, the place went crazy. And Texas missed a big free throw in that game, that moment. So, yeah, you hope you can make a difference. Now, there was a time, you mentioned the scoreboard update, where I did say, hey, everybody get ready to lose your mind because Blake Bell is going to punch us in for a touchdown and we're going to take the lead. And he fumbled on that play. But thankfully, that was before people were really paying attention to the scoreboard update, I think. That was a Kansas State game where things didn't go so well, but it's fun, man. It's fun.
If Twitter was like it is now, or X, whatever you
I
want
would
to
be
call
so
it,
fired.
you'd
Fired. Not
be
even fun. I would be sitting here, I would be one of the guys standing outside the window going, hey, I want to come on the show.
Like, I remember
so
that
bad
guy.
luck.
I remember that guy.
You remember that guy.
Kerry gives you your new start in radio.
Yeah, so Kerry then is able to say, I gave Chris Plank his start on radio. Now, I do. I will say, though, not just to sit here and kiss up to him because he's in the studio right now, but it's kind of amazing what Kerry's done, isn't it, man? And I think about those times when we'd be sitting there in commercial breaks, and I'm like, I don't know, because I wasn't making anything working at radio, and I know that he was battling, but I'm walking through these halls here, and you're like, this is your place? This is all your gear here? I was like, you can afford Josie and Isaac? I mean, let's go, man. It's like, I'm so proud. It's like you see one of your buddies doing well, and it's really cool.
It's going to be so cool during the football season. When
I know.
the desk
That
is
new
out there.
studio is awesome. It looks awesome.
After the game, Campus Corner,
As long as it goes well. As long as it goes well. If it doesn't go well, they might be storming the thing right now. It's like, George, how dare you write a feature piece on John Mateer? What are you doing?
You thought January 6th was bad. Talk about September 21st.
Yeah, exactly. He got insurance to cover that.
Carry up the insurance on that one.
Man.
Might have a broken window
Oh,
with
man.
a brick and a note. But softball
Oh,
season.
yeah, let's talk softball, man.
Softball's pretty good team.
One of the coolest things that has happened in my life is doing softball. And to get away from me getting all sappy and like getting emotional talking about Coach Castro and everyone, let's talk about this team. They're awesome. And there's so many newcomers, right? It's a whole new world. You've got I think it's 14 newcomers total. You got Abby Dayton. I could go through the whole list, but eventually I'll quit calling Abby Dayton Bella Dayton. But the funny thing about the softball team is I never spend time talking about their pitching. Never spend time talking about their pitching. I just always thought, oh, gosh, who's going to replace Jaden? Who's going to replace Tiare? Who's going to replace Kinsey Hansen? And their pitching's been nailed so far. They got 2 perfect games. 2 perfect games.
Already.
And Sam Landry, who threw the perfect – I was telling the guys this before we got going. Sam Landry, who threw the perfect game against Baylor, her last game in a Louisiana Lafayette uniform was against Baylor, and it was a game that knocked them out of the tournament. Like Louisiana lost to Baylor, and they shelled her. So it was wild to see how they responded after a pretty good week one. You know, as we tape this, we're getting ready for the home opener this weekend. But Joe, they're good, man. They're really good.
Sticking to the pitching stuff, how good can that pitching staff be?
Really good.
It's been really interesting to see just kind of softball landscape as a whole move towards like a staff approach. You know, the days of Paige Parker, Kalani Ricketts throwing their arms out, you know, and women's college
Dude,
wrestling.
that is a professional softball conversation right there. Dude knows ball. So softball is funny for those that don't follow it. It used to be one person. There was Kat Osterman, there's Kalani Ricketts, and maybe you had a two that would pitch every now and then. Now in the modern era, since about 2016, we're going with staffs. You've got to have 2 or 3 pitchers to win a title, and you're going to have one that's the best. It's funny. Last year, Kelly Maxwell came to Oklahoma from Oklahoma State, and she'd been their best pitcher, but hadn't really been elite until the postseason. And then all of a sudden the postseason hit, and you're like, damn, she's really good, right? So I kind of feel like that you still need to have a number one, but this Oklahoma team, they have 2 or 3 pitchers right now where you look and at any moment you're like, they can do what Kelly Maxwell did last year. Bella Smith is in from Campbell. She's a righty. I almost said Kalani Ricketts. It'd be nice to have her. Sure. But Sam Landry, and listen, Kirsten Deal's great. She's the third in that group because she's experienced and she's been here. But Audrey Lowry is a true freshman. She's a dog. I mean, she gets out there and she's so late. She's nice. She's calm. But she gets out there and she's got a lot of Kelly Maxwell in her. So, we'll see. I don't talk enough about the pitching staff just because there was so much change on the defense and on the hitters. But their pitching staff is really good. And you've got the best pitching coach in the business right now, and Jen Rocha. Jen Rocha has been great to me, Joe, because anytime I'm like, I don't know what that means, I can go out to the game like, Jen, what does this mean? Or why did that happen? And it's good because, listen, when I started, my first year doing softball was 2016. I had never done a full year of softball before. I'd done a game here and there, but I was always a baseball guy, and I wanted to respect that it was different. So I just immersed myself in it to learn. And I'm still, to this day, learning about different things, and she's been great to teach me, and she let me sit in on their pitcher meetings whenever we were in Los Angeles, and I learned so much just in watching about how you attack hitters and kind of how she calls games and different zones and how they, I'm like, 1 is fastball, 2 is curveball, do you move it inside or outside? No, it's a whole different world. So yeah, I'm grateful for that opportunity to learn because I think it makes things better for the fans, right? Where they know I'm just not there to call a game and lose my stuff every single time something good happens. I'm there to hopefully be smart and give them good feedback.
Is there a freshman or a transfer, other than the pitcher you spoke of, that fans should be excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sydney Barker is someone we hadn't talked about a lot because there are 3 players that have 2 players that have a pretty incredible, 3 players that have a pretty incredible pedigree, right? Tia Malloy is a newcomer, and her dad was Lawyer Malloy. And he won Super Bowls with the Patriots, even though Tom Brady fumbled. And he won Super Bowls with the Patriots. Ilana Agbayani is here from BYU. Her dad was Benny Agbayani that played for the Mets and had a run in the big leagues. And then, Gabby Garcia's mom is a Hall of Famer. Then went to Arizona State and was one of the top shortstops. Which, get this, she graduated from college in 2006. So if you really want to feel right, and now she's got a kid. She's got a kid that's playing for Oklahoma. But so all those 3 have the championship pedigree. But Barker wasn't talked about a lot, right? She's taller, and you're not used to tall shortstops. But I mean, I think she's the 2nd tallest player on the team. And she just mashes. Every hit she's had so far this year has been an extra base hit. It's either a home run, a triple, or a double right now. So I would say Sid Barker. And as far as transfers, Abby Dayton. She's from Utah. She played for DJ for a couple of years whenever he was at Utah. She's got 2 years of eligibility. Good kid, smart kid, fun, and fast. She's going to be our leadoff hitter, and she has been. But I think she's already been hit by 6 or 7 pitches so far this year. But she's fun, man. And I could sit here, now that we've started this, Isaac, I can sit here and talk all day about this roster. But it's taken a little bit of time to get used to them because it is new, right? I spent 4 years and 5 with some of the Riley Boones and the Kinsey Hansons, and you're with them, so you know them. You know their nuances, their family, everything about them. Now all of a sudden this new group comes in and you're taking a little bit of time to get to know them, but you realize, oh yeah, that crew set the foundation where these uber talented, incredibly athletic individuals are able to come in and just ball. And it's been fun to see.
And we haven't even talked about Ella Parker. I mean,
Yeah,
she's
man.
pretty good. Is she the next best thing in softball? I mean,
She's awesome. She's awesome. And she's a good kid.
And you saw all those last year, but it's just
Right.
like when you have people in front of you like that, it can be overshadowed a little bit. But
when we went to Los Angeles, we went to her house. Her family had us over for dinner, and it was awesome. You know, it's just that's one of the really cool things. Like doing. I mean, listen, come on, man. Sidelines for football is the greatest rush that there is. You know, and traveling with that team, you guys know it's amazing. But there's something about baseball and softball when you travel with them because you're not in Friday night and out Saturday after the game. You might get there Wednesday and you're there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you fly out Sunday. But you're with the team at the airport. You get to know their family because you're there for so long. And it's been truly one of the most rewarding things. And we went to their house, to her mom and dad's house. And I was hoping that her uncle might make a surprise appearance. No. No Dave Roberts. But he was at the game. Her uncle, of course,
Really?
is Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. But he came to a couple of the games. So it was really cool to see him supporting his niece. She's unbelievable. She's playing outfield now. Her swing reminds me so much of Tony Gwynn's, but people get mad when you compare baseball to softball. But yeah, she's pretty special, man. She's fun to watch.
Yeah, she is. She hits bombs.
She hits bombs and she hits it hard.
Yeah.
Like she'll go opposite field on a pitch low and away. She'll drive it down the line. You jam her up. She'll bounce one on the infield and she'll beat it out. She can steal bases. She's in the outfield because she's fast. So, I mean, she is and she's a good kid. I think last year she was a little bit shy, but you're seeing her break out of her, I don't know if the term would be cocoon or whatever, but she's really awesome, man. She's going to be a fun one for Sooner fans to follow.
it's been about since a year since Love's Field opened.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's pretty good. I still can't wait to get back out there.
It's really nice, yeah.
I say Love's Field is kind of like that very stereotypical like movie ballpark.
Yes.
It's
Very
perfect,
good.
Very close. Like it kind of reminds me. Hear me out on this one. In bench warmers, they build a
Oh my
field
gosh.
at the end. They
Yes.
build a little league field at the end, and that's kind of what Love's
Build
Field
it and they will come.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
I like Love's Field for a lot of reasons. In my, I don't know, kind of corny, heartfelt world, it's a commitment to women's sports, right? You don't see this across college athletics, and especially in this NIL rev share era where we're fighting for these sports to survive, right? You don't see this. Cleveland State made the NCAA tournament last year in softball. They're shuttering their softball program. It's done. It sucks. But after this year, they're done. Meanwhile, Oklahoma is building a new facility that is the premier facility in all of college softball. So I think from one perspective, that's really awesome. And from the second, and honestly the most important, I have a booth. I don't have to sit outside, which would have been really, really rough because as we tape this today, we were supposed to be playing, but the weather has pushed it to Saturday, and I don't even know if it's going to be in a position where we can play Saturday. But, man, Love's Field is amazing, and it's not just the field. It's not just the seats. The team areas, unbelievable. The media areas, it's unreal.
The new batting cage. I mean, all the areas.
Have you gone down there and
I
seen
have.
it? Okay.
And the way it's built under the stadium, and
I never knew that. I never realized that when you're up on the concourse, you can look in and look
on
down.
it,
Yes.
yeah.
I had
I've
no
never
idea.
been down there, but I've been to the
Right.
games and I was looking down
It's
there.
like I was looking up. I'm like, what's that up there? I was Jackie. You guys have had Jackie on. And I was down there with Jackie. I'm like, what's that up there? She looks at me. She goes, that's a concourse, you moron. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's the concourse.
It's not the
up
parking
there.
lot.
That's not. What? How is that? Is that like some side? But no, it's really cool how it's set up. Really
it
is.
is well designed.
Yeah, well done, man. Well done.
Early on, you were doing like solo broadcasts, right? So
Yeah.
How were you able to just solo carry that on for
I mean,
2+
it's
hours?
Talk about an art.
Yeah,
I mean, you
that
turn it
now that
on.
is-
You
listen,
and Toby are fantastic. at it.
Toby's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best at it because I mean, you want to talk about a great friend. I mean, to everyone, but a great friend. You know, there was a time when he got sick and I had to do a football game and we're sitting there talking through things and he's got COVID and he can't breathe, but he's talking me through things, help me learn. So I just listen to a lot of radio, you know, and I get advantage, Isaac, because softball's a little shorter game than baseball, right? Yeah. But it's fun. You know, I love DJ Sanchez does broadcast with us, and she came down to Waco, and it was really cool, and we had a good time. But there's this certain part of whenever it's you solo where it's a little different. You know, we get a lot of people that let us know where they're listening from, and they'll check in on our shout outs, but they also have good questions, and that can lead to a, two batter conversation. And I'm never alone in the booth, right? There's always if it's not, Gabby, our video person, or if it's not, Brock, our sports information, or Poppy will go on trips, our Toby Baldwin. So there's always someone there, and I'll kind of look at it and I'll turn and start having a conversation with them. And then I'll be like, oh wait, hold on, no one can see them. So, but it is an art, dude, and it's fun. It's kind of like solo radio. Whenever, back to shouting out Murdoch, but whenever Kerry would come on my show back in the day in 1430 when it was, just KQLL, that was a 4-hour show that I would do solo. And it was frightening, for a while, but you learn how to do it. It's never easy, but it's fun. And you find things that you're describing that you never think about. The key to me is, and if there are like young broadcasters that are listening, is there's always no one, you got to call it like no one can see like radio. You got to call it like no one can see what you're doing. If it's the wind, if it's how the outfield is adjusting, if it's where the infield is, if it's what Coach Gasso is doing in the third base coach's box, if it's what a drunken fan is doing in front of you. Dude, we almost had a fight in the San Diego State game. I'm not kidding.
I've seen some rowdy people.
Buddy, softball fans are a different breed. Yeah. We're at San Diego State, and I'm calling the game from in the stands. So I'm in the stands. San Diego State is not prepared for us to be there. So I'm sitting in the stands, and all of a sudden, as it's like, all right, welcome San Diego State. It was San Diego State, Oklahoma. Like, what do y'all came from? And all of a sudden, I'm sitting right there in the stands, and this big dude stands up. He's like, all right, let's go. We're going. You and me, we're going. And he's not looking at me. He's looking at, I know, right? If it was me,
imagine, all right, set the mic down.
I was like, all right, well, I guess, guys, I got to go. This guy's going to kick my, And so he was yelling at some dude in front of him. And the dude in front of him is turning around like, what? And my crowd mic is right there, and I'm right there. So he's like me to you. So I can't say anything because I don't know how volatile this individual is. And he's like, we're going. Outside, you're not going to talk like that. We're outside. Meanwhile, he's saying we're not going to talk like that, and he's spraying as I spray spit, he's spraying F-bombs everywhere, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to be in so much trouble because this guy's cussing. They can hear him on the mic. He's like, let's go. We're going. And no one is like intervening. If something like that happens at OU, someone's intervening. There's a security guard, or, Natalie Davis is going to be there, or, Brian Hauck, or somebody's going to be form tackling this guy. No one is. Everyone's like watching, like, oh, dude, this guy's going to fight. Let's go. He's like, we're going outside. And so the other guy starts to get up and go. I'm like, oh, my God. And I can't. It's like ball 3, and you're just like standing there because you don't want to be in the middle of a brawl. So, even in those situations, you're like, I'm doing solo radio right now, and there might be no radio if I end up getting caught with a right hook. So it's always fun. It's a challenge. You never know what's going on around you. And softball is so unique because you're usually right there. Most places don't have a press box.
Yeah.
Most places you go to don't commit to softball like they're supposed to. So it's a completely different world.
The days of Marita Hines, too, with all the press on the
concourse.
Oh yeah,
I have some sunburns from those days, buddy. Those super regional games that we would play, and you'd be sitting outside.
They're brutal.
Brutal.
And we wouldn't be home in February, so it wasn't often too terribly cold. But Coach Gasso waited until I had a radio booth to do that for me. So thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
It was kind of amazing how until Love's Field happened, how they pieced together Marita Hines to sticking stands
amazing.
Wherever you can.
Amazing.
Tables here.
Yeah.
I mean, it still is. Yeah. I wonder. Do they do anything with that right now?
We're playing there this weekend. Not OU.
Oh, one of the other games?
Yeah, so with I'm trying to do, I think 5 teams are coming in this weekend.
Yeah, Bowling Green, Abilene.
So there's
Wichita
us,
State.
Bowling Green, Abilene, Tulsa, and Wichita State.
Yep.
Oh, look at me. And so there's 5 teams playing this weekend. So Oklahoma will play, as we tape this, we'll play 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday, and a game on Monday. But the other teams will be filling their schedule on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at Marita Hines, which is why I think there might be a schedule adjustment. I don't know if they're going to be able to get both fields ready in time for Saturday, but we'll see.
Good luck. I saw actually Natalie Davis tweet something out. They were like scooping up snow off the field.
They were needing to get ice off the tarp to get the tarp off.
Jeez.
The tarp was frozen on the field.
if you're not in Oklahoma and you're watching this has probably
This
been
week has sucked.
It's bad.
the coldest 4-day stretch I've
Hey,
ever
Joe,
seen. in
how many
Oklahoma.
times have we got to reschedule this? Because we had last Tuesday
Yep.
when we were going to talk and we got the weather. And then this week we're going to do it Tuesday and it's the weather. Then Wednesday was the weather. And finally, the road sucked. I mean, there's just no way around
terrible.
it. And I live in Goldsby and it's not easy to get around, man. They don't care about them Goldsby streets. But we got there.
You
We
over
got
there
there.
spraying your own
Yeah,
sand?
we have a hill to go up our neighborhood, and someone was kind enough in our neighborhood to sprinkle the salt on it. If that wasn't there, I don't know if I would have got to work on Tuesday or Wednesday. I got lucky.
Shout out to that friendly
Shout out
neighbor.
to my buddy down the street, the electrician. You're my guy.
I think before we let you go, I think we might have back to our previous conversation.
Oh,
we
no.
might have the clip of the K-State.
Are you serious? You
fan
guys have it?
of the caller.
Murdoch has everything.
Yeah,
of course he does.
That ruined call.
Oh, no.
Yeah, let's
Look at Toby. Look how young Toby looks. Can we hear it? There. Yeah.
The fans really needing to show
He
up
brought a lot of
for
people.
the Kansas State game. And I'm in a club that's been around since the 70s. I'm the oldest remaining member.
Good, Toby.
We've been bringing, 1.3 buses, but this year we're down to just one. But a busload of fans over. We were joined by about 80,000 more of them, and they were, I thought, pretty loud, especially when Kansas State would have the ball. And I was just wondering, since we showed up,
Why didn't
wondering,
you?
what you thought about the fan participation as opposed to player participation.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, I thought we did our part. I was hoping you thought we did our part as well.
I thought you fans were fabulous. And I'm proud of my players, whether you are or not.
Better get pissed.
I
No,
thought
I'm
my
proud.
players played hard. I thought they played hard the entire night. They made some mistakes. So be it. And if you...
I'm proud of them. I'm a Sooner fan no matter what.
Well, what did you mean by player participation?
Mainly, I was referring to that I thought our
Look at
fans were
Toby.
pretty loud most of the time.
I acknowledge that, and I agree with you totally. Now, I didn't understand your part about you threw in the players there, and I thought our players played hard. And I'll always back them on that. Okay, and I sure did the other night. Whether you appreciate it or not, they did. I'm sorry they made some mistakes.
Thank you, Dwayne.
That's the best part.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Thank you, Dwayne.
I got nervous 10 years removed thinking about that right
Look at me.
now.
I'm like holding my
I know.
I'm nervous.
I like how calm though Coach is during that.
yeah.
He's just like chill. He's like, what do you mean? So yeah, it's not good, man.
Drake gave some recent very directional speeches. I feel like at the end of his career, kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, just straight to the point.
Yeah.
But that gets back to it, Joe. We got to get the callers back, man. Dwayne in Tulsa. Where are you? Is he a member on Sooner Scoop, Carrie? Come on, he's got to be, right?
We need
He's
you.
got to be under a name somewhere, but
Something completely different. Too.
yeah, something completely different. But if he hasn't been banned, it's definitely somebody who is passionate. And I know the natives. I know everybody's fired up right now, and everyone's restless. But there's so much good and so much awesomeness that's going on with Diamond Sports. I hope, and women's hoops, and obviously Porter's got to get things turned around. But there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I hope people can embrace it.
Yeah.
I think so too. And it's talked about ad nauseum. We don't have to go into it, but just with the SEC coming and the
Yeah.
Diamond Sports, like the fan participation has to come as well, especially with the level of play that they're seeing on the field.
I
So-
will say this much: it's been really fun to see how disrespected we are in the SEC still, and I hope that there is a correction to that pretty soon. Man, they do not respect Oklahoma at all. Honestly, they're the big bullies right now, the whole conference, and I hope it's something that we're able to correct pretty quickly.
Hope so as well.
Yeah.
Plank, thanks for coming.
Thank
in.
you. Did we go too long? Are we
Nah,
good?
we're
My
good.
wife's only texted me once, so I'm not in trouble. Thank
Is
you.
that how
guys.
you measure time?
That's how. No, I have no. I wore a watch to try to impress Carey. It's the championship watch from OU softball that they gave me.
I had to flex
I don't
on it
think
a little bit.
I don't think he was very impressed, but I will say that's how I know. And it's like, is my wife text? Yeah, she texted. So thanks, guys, for having me. I got to go, but appreciate it all. Shout out, by the way, to everyone on Sooner Scoop. You guys are the best.
They really are. I love the subscribers. Sooner Scoop. I love them so much.
The best.
For everybody watching, remember to like, comment, subscribe. That helps us help you. And we'll catch you next week with another edition of The Family Business. Remember to keep it in the family.